For years, Big U moved with power in Los Angeles, commanding respect in both the streets and the music industry. But now, with a life sentence looming over his head, the once feared figure is facing his biggest battle yet.
It's gonna probably be my last video. I'm gonna go turn myself in to see what's going on. They talking about I'm a fugitive. So they just raided all my houses. 600 was actually with the police when they raided my house.
Before turning himself in, Big U dropped a bombshell, sending ripples through the streets by calling out Wack 100 in a way no one saw coming. As federal prosecutors tighten their grip, Big U isn't going down alone. And if his latest claims are true, Wack 100 might just find himself caught in the crossfire. Big U accuses Wack 100 of working with feds. The streets are buzzing, the internet is on fire, and the drama between Big U and Wack 100 just hit a new level. If you've been keeping up with the latest street politics, then you already know that Big U, real name Eugene Henley, is facing the fight of his life. The longtime Los Angeles OG, known for his ties to the Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips and his work in the music industry, is now caught up in a massive RICO case that could put him away for life. But before turning himself in, Big U decided to drop a bombshell on social media, accusing Wack 100 of working with the feds to set him up. This isn't just another rap beef or social media spat. This is a heavyweight street legend calling out one of hip-hop's most controversial figures, claiming that Wack 100 has been actively working with federal authorities. The allegations: Wack 100 allegedly fed the feds information, sabotaged Big U's business deals, and even played a role in getting Big U indicted. These claims sent ripples through the hip-hop world, with fans, bloggers, and street insiders all scrambling to make sense of it. Big U has always been known as a private figure, someone who doesn't jump into internet drama unless he has something important to say. So when he hopped on Instagram to speak his truth, people paid attention. The video, recorded from inside a van with his family by his side, wasn't a rehearsed press statement or a carefully crafted message. It was raw, emotional, and unfiltered.
I'm with my family. Talk to my sons, I talk to everybody, man. I'm just saying, going to deal with this fight, see what it is. I just want y'all to know, all this stuff is quagmire.
Right from the start, it was clear that Big U knew he was walking into a storm. The weight of his legal troubles was obvious, but it wasn't just about him fighting for his freedom. He was frustrated, hurt, and angry. And that anger, it was directed at one person, Wack 100. Big U wasted no time pointing the finger at Wack, making it clear that he believed Wack played a role in his downfall.
Wack said 100 times he was gonna take my contracts. He working with the FBI. The FBI went to the city 3 days in a row and told the city they didn't want nobody to give me no more money. They went to all the different celebrities and told all the different celebrities, don't give me no money, don't help me, don't do nothing for me.
That's a serious accusation. If what Big U is saying is true, then Wack 100 was allegedly reaching out to government officials, blocking funding for Big U's community programs, and making sure he couldn't get financial support. Big U is essentially painting Wack as a puppet for the feds, someone who has been moving behind the scenes to destroy his legacy. But it doesn't stop there. Big U went even deeper into the details, claiming that when the feds raided his home and property, they weren't just looking for evidence, they were asking questions about Wack 100.
And I just want to say this to y'all. When they raided my houses and my property, they was asking about Wack. Wack, loose cannon, 600, and this internet stuff.
Big U said. Think about that for a second. The feds are kicking down Big U's doors, and one of the first names that comes up is Wack 100. If this is true, then Wack might be more involved in this case than people think. Big U's accusations didn't stop with Wack 100. He also called out 600 and Loose Cannon, two individuals with strong ties to both the streets and the internet world. According to Big U, 600 was actually with law enforcement during the raid on his home.
600 was actually with the police when they raided my house. He's actually got video and footage of it, so y'all know what y'all dealing with.
Big U claimed. If true, that's a major revelation. 600 has always presented himself as someone deeply connected to the streets, but Big U's words suggest that he may have been working with law enforcement, capturing footage of the raid as it happened. And if 600 was involved, the question becomes, was he just documenting the situation or was he actively cooperating with authorities? As for Loose Cannon, Big U made it clear that he didn't have any kind of relationship with him. Everybody knows I don't fuck with Cannon, he said, dismissing any connection. But despite that, Loose Cannon was still wrapped up in this indictment. Another piece of the puzzle in what Big U claims is a federal setup. The way Big U sees it, the feds are building a case not with solid evidence, but with testimonies and accusations from people who have their own agendas.
This is how they get you. They get one or two people to say something. Ain't gonna be no real evidence. Ain't gonna be no real nothing. it's gonna be a repeater thug. It's gonna be a bunch of people in jail for a bunch of different crimes that don't have nothing to do with me.
In other words, Big U is saying that the government is throwing everything at him, hoping that something sticks. And in his eyes, Wack 100 is helping them do it. For years, Wack 100 has been a controversial figure in the hip-hop world. He's known for managing artists, running his mouth on Clubhouse, and getting into beef with just about everyone. But Big U's allegations take things to a whole new level. He's accusing Wack of working directly with the FBI to feed them information about him, pressuring city officials and celebrities to stop supporting his nonprofit, Development Options, being name-dropped during federal raids, suggesting he may be playing a bigger role in the investigation than people think. Unsurprisingly, Wack 100 has wasted no time firing back at Big U's explosive allegations, denying any involvement in the federal case that has his former associate facing a potential life sentence. Taking to Clubhouse on March 20th, just a day after Big U surrendered to authorities, Wack scoffed at the idea that he had any role in the indictment, dismissing the claims as pure desperation. "Shit ain't got nothing to do with Wack," he declared in a fiery tirade, pushing back against Big U's narrative. Wack also denied ever leaking legal documents or conspiring with federal authorities, going so far as to call Big U a monster, a man whose own actions led to his downfall, not outside interference. Still, for Big U, this isn't just a personal feud. It's about his freedom, his legacy, and his reputation.
Wack said he was gonna destroy Developing Option, right? So who gonna replace Developing Option? Which one of you fuck niggas in the 60s gonna call yourself coming in? Because whoever try to come in, y'all the ones that's working with Wack.
He's suggesting that this isn't just about him, it's about control, that there are people in LA who want him out of the way so they can take over his connections, his influence, and his position. And Wack 100, Big U believes he's the main one pulling the strings. Big U's claims might sound like a desperate attempt to shift the heat, but given his long-standing feud with Wack 100, it's no surprise that if he's going down, he's making sure Wack goes with him. The feud between Big U and Wack 100. The ongoing war between Big U and Wack 100 has grown into one of the most explosive and highly publicized conflicts in hip-hop and street politics. What began as a strong brotherhood between two influential figures in Los Angeles has spiraled into a bitter feud marked by allegations of betrayal, snitching, and backdoor dealings. From being allies in the music industry and sharing street ties to openly exposing each other's darkest secrets, their fallout has become the center of intense speculation, online debates, and real-life consequences. But to understand how this deep-seated animosity came to be, we must first look at their history, one that started with mutual respect but ended in an all-out war. Big U, born Eugene Henley in 1966, was already a well-respected figure in the Los Angeles streets long before he entered the music industry. As a rolling 60s neighborhood crip, he had built a reputation as a powerful enforcer before serving time in prison. Upon his release in the 1990s, Big U transitioned into music management, using his connections to guide up-and-coming artists, most notably Nipsey Hussle. At the same time, he founded Developing Options, a nonprofit aimed at steering youth away from gangs, though critics would later accuse him of using it as a front for illegal activities. Wack 100, real name Cash Jones, was born in 1978 and came up through the Peru Bloods network in the San Fernando Valley. He quickly established himself as a business-minded hustler, securing management roles with The Game, Blueface, and Ray J. Unlike Big U, who preferred a low-profile but authoritative approach, Wack 100 thrived on controversy, often using his bold and confrontational style to dominate the industry. The two men's paths crossed in the early 2000s through their mutual involvement with Death Row Records. Wack 100 was introduced to Death Row through Reggie Wright Jr., a close associate of Suge Knight. Meanwhile, Big U's name was already legendary in LA, even while he was in prison. His reputation was so strong that Suge Knight, recognizing his influence, reportedly sent flowers and financial support to Big U's family after his brother was killed, hoping to earn his favor. By the time Big U was released, he and Wack 100 had already developed a solid relationship, built on their shared understanding of both the streets and the music business. For years, they operated within the same circles, supporting each other when necessary.
I respected him. I learned to love his family, to care about his family. We both been in each other's homes, our kids know each other, and I looked at his son like a nephew.
Wack 100. But beneath the surface, their differences in approach, Big U's silent but deadly influence versus Wack's loud and brash persona hinted at future conflict. While their friendship seemed unbreakable, tensions first surfaced around 2015 to 2016 during Wack 100's mediation of The Game's beef with Meek Mill. Wack attempted to involve Big U and Nipsey Hussle to squash the situation, but the way he handled it made Big U feel like he was being used as a pawn rather than a respected equal. This was also the time when Wack 100 started gaining more power in the industry, and Big U reportedly began feeling like Wack was getting too comfortable making moves without consulting him. However, the turning point came in 2017 when Wack 100 and Big U found themselves on opposite sides of an industry power play. According to Wack 100, Suge Knight allegedly tried to convince record label executives to cut Wack out of his contracts and give them to Big U instead. Wack claimed that during a meeting at E1 Records, Suge told executives to dump him.
Suge Knight tells him, when Wack contracts expire, don't re-up with him, give him to Big U. This the only dude Wack is scared of in LA.
For Wack, this was a major betrayal. He had supported Big U for years, helping his family, introducing him to business opportunities, only to find out that Big U was allegedly trying to take food off his plate. When Wack confronted Big U about it, he claims Big U admitted to it, confirming that the meeting had taken place. Big U, however, has always denied this. He insists that he never tried to take Wack's contract, stating,
I have never been to Alan Grunblatt's office about a deal. I just heard about this one too. For Wack 100 company, because you can't do that. If you know the music business, and I'm pretty sure you do, in the podcast business, nobody can go get nobody's contract.
This moment marked the beginning of the end of their relationship. While they continued to be cordial in public behind closed doors, their friendship was already fractured beyond repair. For a while, their beef remained private, but that all changed in 2021. Big U made an appearance on the Big Podcast with Shaq, where he spoke about his transition from gang life to community activism. During the interview, he made a remark that many believed was directed at Wack 100. Some people talk too much about street business online. That's why they got problems coming their way. Wack, never one to let a slight slide, fired back on Clubhouse, accusing Big U of being a fraud and a snake. He went on to claim that Big U was an informant working with the LAPD. By 2022, things escalated even further when Wack 100 alleged that Big U was being paid $550,000 per year by law enforcement to help take down gangs in Los Angeles. Big U responded aggressively, denying the claims and calling Wack a liar and a clout chaser. I ain't never worked with no feds, no police, none of that. Wack just talking for clout. Despite his denials, Wack continued pushing the snitch narrative, stating that he had paperwork to prove it, though he never produced any concrete evidence. In 2023, YouTuber Hassan Campbell leaked an audio recording of Wack 100 claiming that Big U tried to extort Nipsey Hussle's estate for 30% of its earnings. Big U is the biggest snake in Los Angeles. This revelation shocked the public, as it confirmed that Wack and Big U had secretly been feuding for over 15 months. Big U responded on Instagram Live, refusing to accept any apologies.
I don't accept no apology from no nigga to disrespect my name, disrespect my family, and call me on my name, my nigga. I ain't cool with nothing.
Their feud turned violent, with reports that Big U's affiliates were ordered to confront Wack on site. Still, the beef now seems to have reached its climax, with Big U indicted on RICO charges for allegedly running a mafia-like criminal organization. Before turning himself in, Big U directly blamed Wack 100, stating, Wack said 100 times he was going to take my contracts. He working with the FBI to set me up. Wack has since denied involvement while also making some questionable comments. However, despite Big U's indictment, the beef is far from over. And if the streets are to be believed, Wack 100 will serve a prominent role in the RICO charges against Big U and associates who are now fighting for their lives. The criminal charges against Big U. On March 17, 2025, a seismic legal blow struck Eugene Big U Henley Jr. and his alleged criminal network when the United States District Court for the Central District of California filed a criminal complaint charging Henley and 6 associates with a litany of federal offenses. The 107-page affidavit, penned by FBI Special Agent Andrew James Russa, paints a chilling portrait of the Big U Enterprise, a mafia-like organization accused of orchestrating a sprawling racketeering conspiracy from 2010 to the present. This chapter unravels every aspect of the indictment, detailing the allegations of murder, robbery, extortion, human trafficking, fraud, and obstruction of justice that threaten to dismantle Big U's carefully crafted public persona as a reformed gang leader turned community advocate. The complaint names 7 defendants: Eugene Henley Jr., aka Big U, Sylvester Robinson, Mark Martin, Tremaine Ashley Williams, aka Loose Cannon, Armani Afleji, Frederick Blanton Jr., and Tiffany Shanrika Hines. Each faces specific charges tied to their alleged roles in the Big U enterprise. Henley, Robinson, and Martin are charged with violating the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO conspiracy, for allegedly leading and participating in a criminal enterprise that affected interstate commerce through a pattern of racketeering activities. Williams faces a charge for interference with commerce by robbery, tied to an armed heist of a marijuana dispensary. Afleji is accused of violating the Mann Act for transporting individuals individuals across state lines for prostitution. Blanton and Hines are charged with bank fraud, linked to a fraudulent mortgage application. The affidavit alleges these crimes were committed in Los Angeles County and beyond, leveraging Henley's stature as an original gangster, OG, of the Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips to enrich and empower the enterprise through violence and deceit. At the heart of the indictment is the Big U enterprise, described as a hierarchical criminal organization distinct from yet intertwined with the Rolling 60s. Henley, its alleged leader, is portrayed as a feared enforcer whose reputation for violence, forged in the 1980s through drug trafficking and gang wars, underpins the enterprise's operations. Robinson, his right-hand man and enforcer, and Martin, a trusted lieutenant and CFO of Henley's nonprofit Developing Options, are key lieutenants. The enterprise's purposes, per the affidavit, include enriching its members through extortion, robbery, and fraud, expanding its power via intimidation and murder, and laundering illicit gains through supposedly legitimate entities like Developing Options and Unique Music. The enterprise allegedly operated as an association in fact under RICO, with a clear structure and a common goal: to profit and dominate through fear. Henley's public image as a reformed figure, bolstered by documentaries like Hip Hop Uncovered and his podcast Checkin' In, is claimed to be a facade masking a sophisticated criminal syndicate. A cornerstone of the Big U Enterprise's alleged racket is the check-in system, a practice requiring out-of-town entertainers, athletes, and gang members to pay Henley for protection when conducting business in Los Angeles. The affidavit cites Henley's own words from Hip Hop Uncovered: "If I don't pick up the phone, that can mean death for somebody." This chilling statement underscores the enterprise's alleged modus operandi: demand payment or face violence. The document details a 2019 incident where professional boxer AB cheated NBA players out of millions in a rigged dice game. Henley allegedly directed Big U associates, backed by Rolling 60s members, to rough up AB for failing to check in, securing $100,000 from the players to negotiate the debt. A cooperating witness, CW1, and a consensually monitored meeting with Victim 1 corroborate this, alleging Henley extorted celebrities under the pretense of safety, only to orchestrate the threats himself. Among the most damning allegations is the murder of RW in Las Vegas, attributed to Henley as retaliation for disrespecting the Big U enterprise. The affidavit claims Henley kidnapped and killed RW with cell phone location data placing him at the scene. Evidence from the murder site, including forensic findings, allegedly ties Henley to the crime, while he purportedly arranged for studio recording equipment to be removed and surveillance video destroyed to cover his track. Interviews with family, witnesses, and enterprise associates, alongside Title III wiretap interceptions, paint a picture of Henley's direct involvement. On a December 31st, 2022 call, Henley allegedly bragged, "If I would have had a problem with any man, he wouldn't be here," reinforcing his reputation for lethal retribution. This murder is cited as a racketeering act under Nevada law, bolstering the RICO charge. The enterprise's alleged violent profiteering extends to armed robberies and extortion under the Hobbs Act. Henley is accused of directing a gunpoint robbery of a marijuana dispensary, executed by Robinson and Williams. Wiretaps capture Williams discussing further robberies and violent acts, while additional evidence links the enterprise to a pattern of such crimes to control Los Angeles. Extortion schemes targeted individuals like Victim 1, whom Henley and his crew intimidated into paying protection fees. Intercepted calls reveal Henley and Robinson threatening violence, e.g., a July 9, 2022 call where Henley recounted chasing down Wack 100 with Rolling 60s members to ensure compliance. These acts, the affidavit argues, enriched the enterprise and reinforced its fearsome reputation. Aflea's alleged role involves transporting individuals across state lines for prostitution, a violation of the Mann Act. The affidavit suggests Henley and Aflea exploited sex workers to gratify and profit enterprise members, with digital devices likely holding records of coordination, payments, and victim photos. This charge highlights the enterprise's diversification into human trafficking, exploiting vulnerable individuals for financial gain. The indictment accuses Henley of orchestrating a web of financial crimes, defrauding donors, government agencies, and banks. Developing Options, marketed as a nonprofit aiding at-risk youth, is alleged to be permeated by fraud. Henley reportedly embezzled $65,810 in 2019, $14,000 in 2020, and $25,000 in 2021 from its accounts, using the funds for personal gain rather than community upliftment. He also allegedly misused a Developing Options credit card for personal purchases, like air conditioning units for his Arlington premises. Henley is further accused of defrauding the Small Business Administration, SBA, through fraudulent economic injury disaster loan applications and embezzling charitable donations from celebrities and the City of Los Angeles' Gang Reduction Youth Development GRID program, which received federal funds. Bank fraud charges stem from these acts, with Blanton and Hines implicated in a mortgage fraud scheme, inflating Blanton's income via Developing Options records. Henley's tax tax crimes compound the financial allegations. Despite earning income from hip-hop uncovered, $80,435.20 in 2019, $45,148 in 2020, $69,564.57 in 2021, and other sources, he failed to file tax returns for 2020 and 2021, evading taxes on embezzled funds and other earnings. The enterprise's efforts to evade law enforcement are meticulously documented. Henley allegedly coerced a witness to recant statements implicating an associate, WM, in a 2022 assault, orchestrating a false narrative via intercepted calls to dismiss the case. He also bragged about violence and issued threat, e.g. promising to break Wack 100's jaw or kill a car shop owner, to solidify the enterprise's fearsome image and thwart investigations. Wiretaps reveal Henley's attempts to destroy evidence, like the studio equipment removal post-RW's murder, and his use of developing options as a front to mask illegal activities. These acts of obstruction, the affidavit contends, were integral to concealing the enterprise's sprawling criminality. The FBI's investigation, launched in February 2021 with the Los Angeles Metropolitan Task Force on Violent Gangs, LAMTFDG, amassed evidence from confidential sources, Title III wiretaps, search warrants, financial records, cell site data, surveillance, and over 50 interviews. Wiretaps on Henley Robinson, Martin, and Zahir Brick Baby Mitchell captured incriminating conversations, while physical surveillance tracked their movements across properties like Henley's 62nd Street and Arlington residences, Robinson's Northridge home, Martin's Robertson Boulevard apartment, and Developing Options Crenshaw Boulevard offices. Cell site data and GPS from wiretaps corroborate Henley's presence at crime scenes, including RW's murder, while financial records expose the flow of illicit funds. The affidavit justifies search warrants for these locations and Henley's Mercedes, arguing they likely hold evidence, firearms, digital devices, financial ledgers, of the charged offenses. The indictment alleges a pattern of racketeering spanning murder, kidnapping, robbery, extortion, prostitution, and fraud, all underpinned by Henley's rolling 60s legacy. It challenges his narrative of redemption, accusing him of exploiting his nonprofit for personal enrichment and using violence to maintain control. The check-in system, once touted as a cultural norm, is reframed as a sophisticated extortion racket, while Developing Options emerges as a tool for laundering and fraud. For Robinson and Martin, the charges depict them as loyal enforcers, executing Henley's directives. Williams, Aflege, Blanton, and Hines are cast as cogs in a machine that profited from violence and deceit. The allegations, if proven, could unravel Henley's decades-long influence, exposing a criminal empire hidden behind a veneer of community service. The criminal charges against Big U and his associates represent a stunning fall from grace for a man who positioned himself as a bridge between street life and redemption. The 107-page affidavit weaves a narrative of calculated brutality and financial manipulation, supported by wiretaps, witness accounts, and forensic evidence. From the murder of RW to the armed robbery of dispensaries, from extorting celebrities to trafficking humans and defrauding taxpayers, the Big U enterprise stands accused of a breathtaking array of crimes. As Henley surrendered to authorities in March 2025, the indictment's allegations, spanning over a decade, cast a long shadow over his legacy. Whether these charges hold in court remains to be seen, but the document's exhaustive detail and the FBI's multi-year probe signal a formidable case. For Big U, once a revered OG and hip-hop luminary, the fight now shifts from the streets to the legal arena, where the stakes are nothing less than his freedom and reputation. For more content like this, click on the videos showing on your screen now.